Today we're going to be installing rear diff cover on my dad's 2018 F250 Super Duty. We've been towing with this truck, so we want it to be as reliable towing as possible. And changing your gear oil and upgrading to a bigger capacity cap on your pumpkin is a lot better for your temperatures and your gearing, and it's just healthier in general. It was one of the first things we did to my truck, the steel body, because it had a leaky diff cover. So I upgraded that and instantly saw major smooth ride improvements. It felt way better to drive after that. I don't know, it was just way smoother. Felt like I was putting the power down. And so today, that's what we're gonna be installing. All right, so I don't know if I'm in the frame or not, but as you can see, this is your rear diff cover. There is a plethora of bolts to take off. You got to be really careful cracking these open. You don't want to damage the face of the differential on the axle, and you don't want to damage any of those bolts. Strip them out, thread them out. I'm not sure if that's common, but you just don't want to do it. That's not something that's good. So I'm going to be removing every one of these. I'm going to try to stay out of y'all's way so you can see, but I can't guarantee anything because I can't see myself. So here we go. Alright, so now that I've broken them all by hand, now I'm going to take my impact and I'm just going to back them out with the impact because I'm too lazy to do them all with the ratchet. I would recommend impacting them straight out because you might round one off or strip one out. And also, pro tip on these, if you leave one of these top bolts in but you loosen it and you back it out a little bit, then when you take all the rest of them out and you break this off, all of your fluid can drain out, but this pumpkin isn't going to come flying at you or making a mess on you or on the floor. It's going to stay up there because of that one little bolt that you left in there. I saw that online and that is a very good idea. So it's a good little hack right there. Alright, it is currently thunderstorming and it is midnight, but still out here working. Once you get all of these bolts out, what you're going to want to do is, like I said, you're going to want to leave that top one in. Make sure that it's got some threads on it. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take a flathead and shove it in between this cover and the axle. So this outer piece should already be separated. There's a seam between this cover and the axle. You want to get your flathead up in there. There's a whole bunch of silicone that lines the outside. That's how you know which seam it is. And so I'm going to attempt to do that. You got to be careful though. You don't want to damage the mating surface against the axle. It's okay if you damage the pumpkin, this cover right here, but if you damage the axle, your new one might not be able to seal to it properly, and then you'll have leaks and you'll have to put a whole bunch of nonsense in there to try to get it to stop leaking, and it's just a big mess. So keep that in mind. Let's keep going. Guys, let me know if there's a better way to do this. This is how I did it on my truck. I did end up scratching the surface a little bit, but it's still sealed, so it was fine. To my knowledge, there really isn't a better way to do it. I've seen people just smack the thing, but I don't really like that method. All I've ever seen is people getting a thin flat head up in there and just hammering it up in there and hoping you get something. All right, you can see there I just cracked the seal. And we're starting to leak all the fluid out. Y'all can't see because the light wasn't up. But there it is. There is all the fluid that was in your differential. Now this stuff doesn't look too bad. It looks a little metallic, but not really. I mean, it looks pretty decent as far as fluid goes. See, now that we've cracked this seal and all the fluid already came out, now I can go ahead and undo that top bolt and take the whole plate off. By the way, guys, this stuff smells horrible. The stuff in my truck was nowhere near as bad as this is. This smells pretty bad. It may be because we're inside. I did mine outside, but this stuff reeks. It is pretty bad. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the rest of this fluid out. Once I do, I'm gonna wipe it off with a rag a little bit. And then I'm gonna take a little razor scraper and I'm gonna scrape off all of this white stuff that was gluing that piece up on there. And once I scrape all of that, then we'll be able to install the new one, which has a rubber ring that goes around it, kind of like an O-ring, but it kind of fits in it like you call it a gasket. That one's nice because you don't have to do a whole bunch of silicone or glue or anything. So I'm gonna get started on that. First and foremost, I'm gonna get some latex gloves on, or maybe I'll just go barehanded. I'll probably just go barehanded and just scoop out all of this. There's puddles, there's like holes in the bottom of this. And they have all of the fluid and anything heavy in the fluid. So that's where all the thick stuff is. They hold a lot of fluid down in there. Reach up in there, see if you can scrape any more. So now I've got this little razor scraper. It's like a razor blade on a little scraper, kind of like a mud scraper or something. It's pretty cool. It's gonna work quite well for what I'm trying to do. All I'm trying to do is get all of the silicone off of this. Now you don't want to drop any of your silicone up in there. You might mess it up. Now, that's as clean as the razor is gonna get it. I could scrape off a few more little pieces here and there, but it's really not gonna make a difference. The O-ring is very good at sealing, so I think we'll be fine with that amount of scraping. Just want to get all the big stuff off. I did scuff it up a little bit over here where I pried it off. I did the same thing on my truck. I don't even think there's any way to avoid it. If you guys know a way, please let me know. But I scuffed it up on my truck and it sealed fine with no leaks. So I have no doubt, like, this is nowhere near as bad as I scuffed mine. So I have no doubt that this is going to seal with no leaks at all. So, yep. Guys, I got it wrong when I started the video. This is an AFE power diff cover, not SPE lab. That is totally my fault. I didn't reference it, but this is AFE, also a very good brand. And I got it all set up. I got it all Tefloned up. I put the drain plug in, torqued it down. I put the sight in, which is really cool. On this one, you get a little sight in there so you can see how much you have. I got that torqued in there in Teflon. I got all of these little plugs for sensors torqued down. They're not going to leak. And then it has like a 6-inch magnet thing, probe that goes down in there as well. That's pretty cool. I don't know how that works or what it does. Looks like a magnet. Might be a magnet. Yeah, it is a magnet. So that's pretty cool. And now I'm ready to install it. Alright, and now I'm torquing all of these Allen head screws down to about 15 foot-pounds. It says 15 to 16. I would typically like to go higher than that, but I'm going to see how tight 15 is, and we'll go up from there. Alright, so that is all of them torqued down. So now I'm going to go grab my gear oil and start filling it up until I can see it in this window. So I'm using this this Valvoline 75W140. This is for a 2018 F250. This is probably the gear oil you should be running. This is the heavier duty stuff. Especially when you're towing, you're going to want that heavier duty stuff to, you know, be more durable while you're pulling. So I've got some of this left over from the stuff that we put in my truck. And then I've got some other randos that I'm just going to throw in here that are similar, but they're not the same. Also, I know that I was supposed to torque those down in a cross fashion like you would lug nuts, but really it was only 15 foot-pounds, barely anything. I checked them all, they seem fine, so I'm not too worried about that. You may have seen me skip over one of them. That's because I couldn't reach it with the torques or with the torque wrench. So what I did was I just guesstimated it with an Allen key because I couldn't get to it. It's fine. It was just one, and it didn't round it off, so it's fine. All right, so that took just a little bit over 4 of those little baggies of fluid. Now, I did say that when you have your vehicle jacked up, it puts your axle at an angle, so you probably have a little bit more in than you need, but that's fine. From here, just got to put that little 6-inch chrome or 6-inch probe in there, and that piece is pretty cool. It just kind of slips down in there. Have to move this cable out the way, but you get what I'm saying. Just goes straight down in there. It's a magnet, so that'll catch any of your metal shavings that are flying around up in there. And boom, there's the probe installed. And that was the last thing on the checklist before we were done installing this beautiful AFE power diff cover. If y'all have any questions, please let me know. I wasn't very informational about how this works. There's basically just a magnet probe that I just put in. That was the long cylinder thing. It's just a magnet that sits in the middle to collect all of your metal shavings. This side has a little porthole. That was where I knew when to stop filling up. I got kind of lucky and it just kind of was barely enough. And then it has a drain plug down here. So the next time you have to do this, instead of taking the whole thing off, you can just undo this drain plug and then fill it in through the top so you can keep cycling in fresh and nice fluid into it. Yeah, that should be everything. If y'all have any questions, please leave a comment down below. It's like 1 or 2 in the morning and it's thunderstorming and I'm just working in the shop, so getting pretty tired. Probably gonna clean up from here. I will see you guys in the next one.